If you're anything like me, you've been told your entire life student loans are never dischargeable. They're never going away. You're stuck with them forever. It's not true. My law firm has discharged over $800,000 of student loans. Think of this kind of like the presumption of innocence in a criminal case. In America, you are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Student loans are non-dischargeable until proven dischargeable. So generally what happens is this. You file a bankruptcy, they get the benefit of the doubt, and the student loans survive. But it doesn't have to be this way. What we've started doing in the last couple years are filing SLAP cases, student loan adversary proceedings. And here's how it works. You file the regular bankruptcy case, usually a Chapter 7, and then you file a lawsuit against the Department of Education where we say this student loan should be discharged. Yes, we've got this normal presumption of innocence, presumption of non-dischargeability. But our client is special. Keep in mind, this is nothing like President Biden forgiving $10,000 of student loans for every American. This is nothing like that. This is case by case, fact specific. We file the bankruptcy and then we set out our case on why you, the client, are special and your student loans should be discharged. Okay, let's talk about what they're looking for. In this SLAP case, we are going to be proving 3 main factors. Number 1, do you have a present ability to make student loan payments? What are we talking about here? Well, with file bankruptcy, we put together budgets. We call them Schedules I and J. How much are you earning each month? What are you spending each month? We show, okay, gas is really expensive. Food is really expensive. Travel is really expensive. All these things that are really expensive right now. And we show that at this moment in time, based on your current income and your current bills, that you don't have money left over at the end of the month to be paying your student loans. That's the first factor. The second thing that they're looking for is a future ability to pay. How do you look into the future? The best way to do it is to show the most recent past. Okay, my client's been at this job for 4 years. It doesn't seem like they're going to get a raise anytime soon, or they get a raise every year. It's just a little bit. So my client's future looks a lot like the past. Or alternatively, my client's been through 6 jobs in the last 5 years, and all of them pay about the same. Or alternatively, my client's on disability, and there doesn't seem to be any change. But factor 2 is attempting to look into the future as best we can to say, all right, you can't pay right now, but does it look like there's a future where you're going to be able to pay your student loans? Factor 3 is good faith. That's a really hard one to prove, but what we're trying to make sure is that people aren't abusing the bankruptcy system. You didn't just quit your job for fun so that you could file bankruptcy. You didn't just stop making your house payments for fun so that you could file bankruptcy. You are somebody who truly, legitimately needs the help. Those are the 3 main factors. But there's 3 more that I like to call the secret factors. Secret. What is the Department of Education really looking for? Over the last couple years, we've had countless settlement discussions with the Department of Education, and they won't reveal their secret recipes. But I really think that these 3 things matter a lot when they're looking at the cases. First, secret. What is your gross income? So in other words, lots of people, even very wealthy people, spend as much money as they earn. That's okay. But if you're somebody who is on the lower income side of our state, you're going to be given a lot more favorable review by the Department of Education than somebody who's on the higher side of income for our state. So this is situationally dependent. What part of the state do you live in? How many kids do you have? What does your income look like? Past, present, future. But the more you earn, the harder it is to get this relief. Doesn't mean you have to be in poverty. This just means higher earners are going to have a hard time. Secret. Are you age 65 or getting close to it? The older that the debtor is, realistically, the less earning years that you have left in your career. So the closer you are to age 65 or above 65, that makes you an extremely good candidate for a student loan adversary proceeding. Secret. The third secret factor we've determined they really look at is how long have you been out of school? If you've been out of school for more than 10 years, the Department of Education is going to consider your case a lot more favorably because over the course of 10 years, it's a lot easier to tell what your future is going to be, what efforts you've had to be able to use that degree or the degree that you weren't able to get. 10 years is a really good predictor of what the next 20 years are going to look like. But what we found is when we have clients who are only 3 or 4 years out of school, even if they've been struggling to find a good job in today's economy, the Department of Education often responds with, well, yes, but give it 5 years and I'm sure they'll be doing a lot better. So that's a really important factor. The longer you've been struggling, the stronger your case is. So none of these factors by themselves make or break your case. We need to look at all of this. How much debt did you have? Did you get the degree that you wanted? What success have you had with your degree? What does your income look like relative to your expenses? And are they reasonable expenses? These are all factors that are going into this analysis. But the reality is, most of my clients who file for Chapter 7 are broke and don't have much money and are doing so in good faith. So this is something we want to be looking at for lots of our clients. We file a slap lawsuit, and then we talk to the Department of Education. And that's the biggest difference between student loan adversary lawsuits today versus 15 years ago. 15 years ago, there was no negotiation. I'm told Department of Education took all of these to trial. But nowadays, the policy has changed. The law hasn't, but they're at least willing to enter into settlement negotiations, which often result in a full discharge of our student loans. Not always, though. This, again, is a case-by-case situation. But by choosing these lawsuits for our clients, by doing some extra work that isn't part of your regular bankruptcy, we have achieved amazing student loan discharge results for our clients who no longer have the burdens of student loans to weigh them down for the rest of their lives. So this is real awesome, life-changing stuff, and you definitely want to check it out.